Yeah, well, Prof here, and we're back again with another one, and I just realized, well, crap, we're gonna have to use a shot from the video, hopefully YouTube pulls a good one, because the Milwaukee bits I just did, I forgot to take a picture of the bits before I put everything away. Being that it is quite late, that would be the reason why. But what we are going to do next is check out this guy here. And we have checked out one of these before. This guy by, it's called the James brand is the name of the thing. You'll just see him with James on here. It's called the Palmer. I have reviewed one of these before, and I actually returned it because I thought the build quality was shit. I have seen a number and held and used and even owned a number of James brand products. For example, the one I was after for the longest time was this guy right here, which is their titanium bottle opener. This is how I expect their stuff to be made. It is also a screwdriver here, but beautifully made, super solid. This is a WTF from Tactical Keychains on the other end. Titanium, super well made. This sort of thing follows like their key rings, or not their key rings, their carabiners and stuff like that. This is what I expected build quality was. Yes, it's titanium, and the original version of the Palmer was aluminum. But for example, that bottle opener ain't cheap as an EDC item. You can get this one from Kershaw, which isn't too bad itself. I think it's a tad short because they're trying to give you more pry and more screwdriver space. They should have moved that out more. You basically have to use your key ring as leverage or do it multiple times, which is annoying. You don't have to with, and you're like, it's not that much longer, but it is. So if you look at the overall length, oh, here's the annoying bit. I use magnets for keeping things on my key ring. The fact that this is steel made things frustrating as fuck. So there you go. That is the length difference. So if we put this up where that is, you're losing, even though this sticks out farther, right? You're losing more than just the length difference in these tools. Like this, that doesn't look that much. But if you hold this up to how much leverage you have like twice as much on this one. For a keyring one, I never have a problem using this. In fact, I am thirsty right now. Thirsty right now, and here we've got a Tapo Chico, and now I'm gonna bash the. There you go. No problem. I was trying not to smack the camera. For those wondering. So with the Kershaw, that would have taken 2 attempts, and or you don't have the leverage to bend it that far out on one side, so you'd have to do like bend here, bend there, or something like that. The Kershaw costs dollars, mere dollars. So it's better than nothing. I would argue too, as a pry bar, it's not long enough. But I already had the WTF. And WTF is totally wrench that fits. Not what you're thinking, right? Refreshing. So I have had some bad luck with the Palmer before because we have some very nice products like this from Tactical Keychains, just like that wrench that fits. This is my, what do I gonna call it? My main one I use around the house. And this is my everyday carry. So comparatively, that is a good tool. We've been over on how the updated versions of the EAB, which I think is the is the progenitor of this guy here. This is the TUKK HD with the little notch for the cord or the strap cutting, right? And then this is the TUKK XL, kind of classic square guy. Yeah, so other competitors would be Bob over here. A lot of you have seen Bob before. Bob box cutter. This is going to be pricier than the Palmer, made, at least compared to the aluminum one, a hell of a lot better. I still probably wouldn't take this over a TUKK XL. Some of you might, though, because it does have this classic, like that classic taper that you used to on a bigger box cutter, and you can get another finger on there as compared to, you know, like you're at 2.5 here, and normally I use it like this, you know, so it's like 1 to 2, and this guy's only a little bit longer, right? But that little bit, especially if your keys on this end, you can kind of use that as like a pull. If you had a strap or something on it, you can pull that tight. Kind of like how with like some SMGs, you got to push out when you don't have a stock. You use kind of like a push strategy to mitigate recoil on their strap. I could see how some people could like this better. I just didn't run into any of the benefits personally of it. I thought I might. You notice I still haven't bought the titanium version of that, and that's because I'm like, I do use this because it's at my desk, but I use this far more. I mean, you can see on the wear of the Cerakote, and this is my best version of this one. That's also why this one didn't become my everyday carry, is because I'm known for yellow, and this is orange, though orange is my sort of secondary color. And you can tell by the Maverick here. I didn't. This has a very. This is actually a TUKK HD Smooth with like a matte finish, and I was really worried. As much it's gotten somewhere. Let's just say it was a bit of a event to get this quality of finish. Company's great as always. They made it happen. But I can only imagine if that's the finish, that's what's happening with my finger and just being on my desk and just cutting boxes and stuff like that. I can only imagine what, here, look at the wear on that clip, for example, on my everyday carry one. Now, I do carry this clip out in my sort of coin pocket / watch pocket on the pants / jeans. So that's why, like, the back side is worn more, whereas if you look at the one that I ran when I was on On-Site Tech and Geek Squad, this side is thrashed by comparison. So that's a lot of lead up. Why did I pick this one up? That's the important bit there. Clear electric green / turquoise. So James brand. One other thing that's kind of iffy about them, I would say, is this feels heavy. And you'll see why shortly. Man, does that look good, though. The reason why it's heavy, this will come out, is this is all this. This is it, by the way. This is in here. This alone, let's check it on the scale, weighs 4.9 ounces, whereas the tool weighs 2. So that is something that I thought I was going to get the first time through. I thought I was getting a much beefier tool based on other titanium and other products I've gotten from them and other products I own. Granted, I didn't own that one specific one at the time, I don't think. But then also you get the weight in here, and no, you can actually get that out. It is literally just that sort of fiberboard cardstock that is cut out to be the shape of this. So makes it feel premium. They did copy the color of the tool on the inside. Like they're trying to pass it off as being more premium than it is. Now, these translucent ones, I am under no, there you go, it says, please remove before use. You can actually see the guts this time where it is steel reinforced. That sort of actually looks cool this time. Versus when I thought it was some sort of like, they're trying to pass it off as this like premium, like utility, like the standard one. It's like a premium utility knife. When realistically compared to everything else I've had from them, because they make some very, I shouldn't say very high-end, but some more premium knives. Quite premium knives. Like I know how much that titanium bottle opener was. Works very well, and I tried cheesing out and getting a cheaper one initially, only to eventually go pick it up because I felt like the other options that were on Amazon were nowhere near. You see how chintzy this fucking paracord is? They should have just used a real paracord. Like, oh, it has an internal, it's real paracord. Yeah, it's not the diameter real paracord. It's like cheesy, like, see that it gets all twisted super easy, springy. No, not that way. Maybe this way twice. But oh, that I forgot about how stumpy it is. Do you see how stumpy it is? That's max blade length. I do think the translucent looks way better, though. Also, you're not kidding yourself when you get the translucent one. Where's Bob? Did I put Bob back? Maybe Bob sticks out about the same. Oh, that's the take the blade out. That's one I never understood. That's a weird. Yeah, Bob, because they cut back, they back angled it. Even Bob sticks out more than the Palmer. If you can see that. That's purely because they angled the cutout. Otherwise it wouldn't. Otherwise they're pretty similar. Now compare that to the TUKK HD here. And you see how you can see some of that square top on it, right? And that's only the first notch. Blades have 2 notches. So you can put it out that far if you want to. I normally don't though, but you can. Or you get the blades that have 4 notches and you can do a lot more notches. The other thing that's kind of weird about this, in my opinion, now Bob kind of works the same way. You have to hold it halfway. It does not lock there, and you can take the blade out. The TUKKs, you have to be full extended. My suggestion always with the TUKK is if you're doing a quick thing, you can leave it forward like that, leave the button forward, because you're just going to retract it. Like you're going to pull this out, chat, and then, put it back. Now, if you're going to be doing heavier work where you're really having to like go at something, pull this button back, because then you can't retract the blade. The blade won't go in, because the other thing is, in order to get the blade out, you actually push down on this. And then what'll happen is if you push down on this and you try and pull, it'll pull the blade out. So a lot of people, when they're trying to like really get a good grip on it, will push on this and then the blade will come out. So if you're ever doing some like where you really, and you don't have a bigger utility knife on hand, and you're really going at it, I would pull that button back there, because the blade ain't coming out then. So the Palmer is kind of weird in that you push down, push forward. You just saw me catch the middle one again. Look, it wants to go into... I don't know if I originally had I had this complaint in my original video, but it is a complaint now. It wants to go into the take the blade out mode. Also, don't buy their blade. They have like James brand lasered blades that cost like way freaking too much. Any utility blade fits in here. I'll admit that fitment that went in there now, it's got some sort of spring tension. Feels real nice. But you have to go all the way forward for it to actually be locked in and be usable. When you just kind of flick it forward, it goes into blade pulley outy mode, not usable mode. So you actually have to like make sure you're all the way forward. Now you can actually see that on this one because it's translucent. So that's somewhat of an improvement. Also, the scales on this, the sides of this are this really neat translucent. I was calling it translucent yellow. Translucent green is probably what most people would refer to this as. That does not make, because this mechanism, it may not look like it, but it is plastic. Fully, the carrier inside of here is plastic. This button is plastic AF, which when they're trying to sell it to you in the original form with, like, oh, it's like a premium aerospace grade aluminum, and it's just like some cheap aluminum shells that are screwed on, on here. And then it turns out that like normally this is the side you see, right? And this is the side with the screws. And unless this is made for lefties, which maybe it is, but I still have that same complaint that, if this is designed for righties, you're seeing the hex from the screw in here. You're seeing the screws on this side. Look at that. You don't see that here. Now, you do here, but that's because this is an asymmetrical designed knife. Realistically, this should be flipped, in my opinion, unless you're lefty. Maybe this is designed for lefties. Then it looks much nicer. I want to double check this real quick, but I think these translucent designs, which look really cool, and I think are actually a better fit for this knife. They don't necessarily fit with James brand's products as well, I don't think, because a lot of their stuff is actually like titanium. But I feel like it fits the knife better because of the fact that like the guts of the knife, realistically, minus those metal scales that are on the side that are giving it some rigidity, is plastic. That whole mechanism you touch is plastic. This makes it feel... Oh, it turns out the computer's not even on. Well, that'll do it. Won't it? If you saw the lights flicker, yep, that's what happens when you have a 1300 watt power supply that uses a 20 amp plug, not a 15 amp plug. Like I said, my biggest complaint is that it wants to snap into the blade removal. It should be harder to get into that. So if you pick this up, just make sure that you're really throwing it forward when you put it into use. Because unlike Bob, you can't get to blade removal and leave it there because you're going to advance it all the way. If you want to go to blade removal, you have to make a point to go part of the way out and then take the blade out. Like, you have to push down to get it. Whereas this is, when you advance it, it wants to, because that's actually a higher, sooner notch. It wants to go to that first. And then if you try cutting with it, because the blade is out, it'll just pull it up. And like I said, I do have a complaint with this. If you go heavier on it, don't push the button. or if you think you might. Like, I know I will if I'm going to do something that's like breaking down some multiply cardboard, and this is the only one I have. I'll just pull the button back, and then you can push in there all you want. You actually get some more grip with that there. But you don't want to be pushing the blade down, because that will allow you to pull it out. That immediately wants to go there. You gotta like... The other thing is the form factor of this is, if anything, you'd want more length on this. Brad, OG Brad, who designed this, who then sold Tactical Keychains, is working on an extended version that has the blade and the mechanism up here, and actually 2 refill blades down here to give you that, like, if you are truly breaking something down, you will be able to get a lot more leverage. It'll be a lot more comfortable, a little bit less carryable around her because it's twice as long, right? But this, the issue is that you get this height difference, like the thickness this way. The length is fine. You can actually get all your even my hand can get fully on there, all your meat paws. That's another thing with this button. This button is right here. Like, if you're cutting this way, that's fine. That's flat. But it and maybe it's just because I'm used to this, but even this is skinnier. Bob box cutter, right? It's pretty chunky this way. And I would argue if you're going to push down here, you're going to push this button because your hand lives there. It's not like or you have to go like this maybe. You know, watch out for your thumb guy. But, you know, because the action to retract or advance is pushed down, and you can see it in there, actually. Like, I could tell this on the original, but I couldn't see it because obviously it was thick aluminum, or thickish aluminum. I wonder if those reinforcement, like those steel reinforcement guys are actually in the aluminum one, because they could have just milled they could have not needed it. Now they're using those for tracks for the mechanism in there, right? You can see that. But they could have milled that into the sides and the inside of the scale if they wanted to. I didn't take the other one apart because it did not feel as quality as it probably should have for how much it cost and compared to the other products. I'm hoping that this, if you see that little guy that's moving back and forth, that is metal, right, that it's sliding in. But if you notice, it catches all this stuff. Hopefully that is metal. Because otherwise it is going to wear incredibly quickly. It is on both sides, at least. Oh yeah, the fact that the remove blade is, because a lot of people are going to push this down and advance it, and it's immediately going to go to red remove blade. So you got to get in the habit, if you pick one of these up, of push down, advance all the way forward, and then don't press that, because if you push down, now this can unlock and then go to, you know. I'm not going to say this is like a completely bad mechanism. I think it's too... if you look at the size of my thumb, right? That's what's making it a little bit too thick that way. That's also where there's like a very long, large distance from the... A lot of these try to make this distance from the blade to this edge right here as small as possible. That is why even on Bob, they cut it and angle it, right? So that distance from this blade to that edge, they generally try to make that as close as they can. They definitely weren't trying that on the Palmer from James Brand, right? I've seen many people write happy reviews, write good reviews. A lot of them were sent the product. I'm not saying this is a bad one. I'm just saying probably spend a little bit more, but I was entranced by this translucent version, and it looks, that might help a little bit, help it pop a little bit. Let me turn this light off once. It is far more, if you look at that classic fluorescent green, like you'd see in the like N64 Game Boy Color era, that it's that fluorescent green plastic, translucent plastic color, which got me in the feels. You know what I mean? So even though I didn't like it the first time around, I had to pick it up when they re-released it eventually via Amazon. I don't know. I may have had some help from you guys with your affiliate revenue to pick this up. Because a lot of stuff like this, I have plenty of knives. I do not need another one. But ones like this are too cool. Too cool to pass up completely. James Palmer. And because you can get that on Amazon now. You used to have to get all of James brand stuff directly from them. Wow, I can't even find it. Hold on here. Hopefully I'll be able to have a link below. James. Oh, you gotta have the weird degree symbol. James degree symbol. So yeah, the translucent ones, these are down to $39, right? The aluminum ones are $59. So I think $40 is still a premium, but I think the plastic outer that is kind of cool with translucent, with like that balances the plastic mechanism. When they were trying to sell it for $60 as like this premium thing with like premium milled aluminum, I mean, like, go watch my video that I have on that. I shit on it. It is not premium at all. It's like I could take it down to like the local anodizing place and get the same anodizing quality that they got out of it. The fitment on here, like where I have a kitten on my shoulder now, where these sides match up didn't really match up at all on the original one. So I think that the $39 is much more reasonable than the $59. For those wondering, this is what I have to deal with right now. Paisley says, it's sleepy time. Why sleepy with me? And yeah, it really is. So let's I can't get over there because I have a kitten on me, but there you go. James the Palmer clear knife, and they've got that red one, looks really cool. They got the purple, which is like the classic Game Boy Color purple. They got the teal. Looks like they got some sort of translucent black as well. I probably wouldn't get that one. The teal, red, or a purple. Man, if you want some 90s, early 2000s nostalgia, there you go. And would I say this is better than a TUKK? No. I do think that James did redeem themselves, though, in that reducing the price, and I would argue making a product that better fits the price. I still think this little cheesy paracord they have on the ass end that isn't even full-size paracord is kind of like a cop-out, if you want to say that. Maybe replace it with your own if you have a preference. And your own length, or if you do want to put it on a key ring, you could, or have the key ring on this and have your keys on it, just so you always have it. It does lock in there quite well, so if it's in your pocket, it ain't going nowhere. And do not spend the money on their blades. By God, we've been over it before. Being that this locks in on the top, I can almost guarantee it can take the Fiskars blades, so that's what I'm going to recommend to you. You can also buy those in smaller packs, the Fiskars Carbon. Otherwise, my recommendation is always the DeWalt Carbide, which is, and the Stanley Carbide are effectively the same thing, but I've had better luck with the DeWalt, even though I come out of the same factory, and are literally, I think the DeWalt's $1 or $2 more at times, but I've had a batch of the Stanleys that were like punched off center. I'm not saying they can't have one of the DeWalt's either because they come out of the same factory, but I'm going to appease this kitten, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.